You've just spent about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even more, on the call presenting, and everything's going so smoothly. You're getting your words out perfectly, you're building rapport. You really, really feel that this person is about to pay you the full amount so that you can get your commissions. And then it comes down to the close, and they say, yep, everything sounds great, but I think I need to have a little think about it. And instantly, you feel that fucking pain in your chest that you just spent all this time telling this person about how, amazing your service is, using their pain points and applying your solutions to it, just so they can turn around and say to you, I want to think about it, as soon as they hear you mention the price. And most of the time, you say, yep, that's completely fine, let me know. And you never, ever, ever hear from that person again. But what if I told you there were things that you could do to get these people from having to thinking about it to being more certain than ever that they want to be a part of your service and join whatever it is that you're actually pitching to them? In my first couple of weeks, in my first couple of months closing, I had this a lot. I had a lot of people telling me that they need to think about it, they need to speak to X person, they need to consult with their lawyer. I've heard people that say they need to consult with their accountant, wife, husband. I've pretty much heard it all. And now that I think back to it, just because I didn't know how to handle it, I've probably lost on about a minimum of about 40 to 50,000 pounds, which is about 65k dollars worth of commissions, just because I didn't know how to overcome this very simple objection. But anyways, enough about that. Let me tell you how to actually overcome this objection. The main thing that people don't understand about this objection is the fact that you handle it before it even comes to the end of the call. Think about it logically, right? What's the only reason somebody will tell you on that call that they need to think about it? The main reason, it's because they're not certain. If they believed completely with their whole heart that whatever you were selling is going to get them the outcome that they were looking for, are they really going to think about it? If they were certain that the price that you're charging matches the value, or it's even below the value that you provide, are they going to have to think about it? Probably not, right? They'll be ready to pay you right away. They would ask the link on the call. Matter of fact, if you do everything else before the end bit so well, you're going to have instances, and this has happened to me on countless times, where I wasn't even done pitching the service, and I've had the prospect say to me, okay, how do I get started? Or how soon can I get started? These are the type of things that you want to be hearing rather than I want to think about it. So here's what you need to do. You need to position yourself in a way from the beginning of the call around building as much certainty as possible for this prospect that whatever it is that they're going to be a part of, whatever it is that they're going to sign up to, is actually going to provide them with the outcome that they're searching for. And the way that you do that is in your information gathering stage. In your information gathering stage, you're not just looking to find out what their pain points are. You're also looking to understand exactly the type of person that they are. And the reason why this is important is because when you have a good judge of character and you understand your prospect very, very well, you also understand the things that are important to them. I'll give you a simple example. For some people, reviews are very important. For some people, live results, stuff that you can show them actively on a call, are super important. For some people, none of these two things matter, and they just really care about having a nice team that they can work with, a responsive team, a prompt team, professional team. For some leads, professionalism is very important. The way that you speak during a call, if you're professional, if you sound very corporate, that's important to them. That will make them more certain. For some leads, if you're very corporate on the call, they might feel threatened by that. This typically applies to younger people. If you're selling things like e-commerce services, SMMA, and you're talking to a, 20, 21-year-old, and you're probably not much older than that yourself, and you speak to them in a very corporate manner, they're going to think, yeah, these guys could probably get me results, but I'm not going to enjoy working with them. Or I could probably find a better fit for me that I'm going to feel more comfortable with. So before you get into the main part of your call, you need to make sure that this information gathering stage is done really, really well. And make sure you fucking pay attention, because I know a lot of you jump on the call because you're so used to asking the same questions. You're pretty much on autopilot the whole time and you're not paying attention to what the prospect is saying. Everything that a prospect says in the information gathering phase is very, very important. The tonality that your prospect uses during that period is also very, very important. If you have to, make notes, note down key points. Once you've done that, what you do in your pitch is strongly determined by what they've answered previously. You now know exactly what you need to show them to make them a lot more certain. And if you do this phase correctly and you show them everything that they need to see for them to be ultimately certain, guess what's going to happen? The percentage of people that say they need to think about it is going to be a lot lower. But let's just say you're dealing with like a very, very difficult lead, right? Like this person is just difficult. no matter what you say to them, they're not certain, they still want to think about it, then here's what you do. You use the information that's previously been given to you by them to actually see how you can overcome this objection. I'll give you a simple couple examples, right? If you've understood that the prospect that you've been speaking to is quite tight financially, they're quite frugal in a sense, and they don't necessarily want to pay that upfront fee that you have, then you may want to work on them on the fee. What you can say to do this is very simple. There's many variations. I'm not going to give you like one thing to use, but what I've used at certain times is I would simply say, hey, look, from everything I understand, you really do love the service and everything makes sense to you. However, I feel like you're a little bit reluctant on the price. Would you say that's fair? And most of the time they'll say, yeah, everything sounds great to me, but it's just a little bit too much money for me right now. It's out of my budget. Great. And then you say to them, okay, cool. Well, I completely understand, this might be a little bit out of your budget. However, if we were to come to an agreement on the finance, is everything else okay for you to move on? If they say yes to that, you've gotten your second confirmation. At this point, all you have to do is propose a nice little payment plan or performance-based payment plan, or just bring down the price a little bit to the point where they can afford it. And that's done. You've got yourself a sign up. In another example, it might be that they need to consult with someone. They need to consult with the wife or husband. That's like the most frequent one that I've dealt with. I'll give you an example for both, right? For example, I had a lady tell me that she had to speak to her husband before onboarding with us. And I simply said to her, okay, great. Like that makes sense. Obviously, you want to consult with your partner and you want to hear their input. But just a quick question out of curiosity. Let's say you went up to your partner and you said, oh, hey, I wanted to do this thing with this company and everything sounds great and I'm super excited to do it. And he turned around to you and said, oh, no, that's a horrible idea. You shouldn't do that. Would you do it anyway? And she simply said, yeah, I'll do it anyway. So I said, why not do it now? And that was enough to get the close. On the flip side of things, I used the exact same thing with a man prospect, and he said, yeah, I'll probably just do it anyway. So I said, why not do it now? And that worked. So those are just some base examples that you can use. But the main thing I wanted to talk about on this video was, let's say the first thing didn't work, right? The certainty, building that certainty, that didn't allow them to close. And let's say the actual handling of the objection didn't work. What do you do after that? You just let the prospect go, send them a pretty crappy email afterwards and say, oh, hey, John, it was a pleasure speaking to you today. Here are some XYZ stuff that you can look for. Or like, here are some reviews, or here are some testimonials. No, because guess what's going to happen? John's going to get off the call. He has a bunch of shit to deal with. He doesn't really care about what your company does, because as soon as he jumps off the call, he probably has another 4 companies that he's scheduled in with that same week, and he's just going to get lost. So here's what you do. Once again, you use the information that you've gathered on that call. Because bear in mind, right, if you speak to someone for an hour, that's a pretty long time. Because you're not just having small talk with them for the hour, you're asking them deep personal questions. They're telling you about their goals. They're telling you about some stuff that they had to deal with before coming to this point where they're actually actively looking for help. Everything that was said on that call is ammunition. Everything that was said on that call is a piece of key information that when you stack them on top of each other, it's going to get you to the close. So here's what you do. In your follow-ups, I want you to be very, very personalized in terms of what you actually sent. Because if my name's John and I don't really give a shit about reviews or anything like that, and you follow up with me on an email about reviews, I'm going to ignore you. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to block your email, so every time you send me something, it goes into the junk folder. But on the flip side, if my name's John and I really, really care about seeing live proof, and I get an email from you and it's a Loom and you're showing me live results, active client chats, right, between the people that you're actually working with, and everyone seems satisfied, and I have a look through that, suddenly I'm a lot more inclined to actually go with you. So it's very, very simple in all 3 stages, right? The same way I wrote it, I don't know if you can see it actually, but I've put pre-objection, during objection, and post-objection. So pre-objection, we build on their certainty. During objection, we try to overcome and handle the objection. And then post-objection, this is where we send them a personalized follow-ups, actually. We want to follow up with them consistently with personalized things. If you do these 3 things, I absolutely guarantee you, you're going to have a massive increase in your close rate and you're going to make a shit more load of money. And on top of that, you're no longer going to be scared when somebody says to you, I need to think about it. But yeah, that was all from me for today. If you found value in the video, please do like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any questions. I'm going to be posting more of these, so make sure you do tune in, subscribe, so you can be notified first when I do upload these videos. But yeah, other than that, take care. I'll see you on the next one.